I don't want to get married, Mama, Amina confided in her mother one evening as they sat together in the kitchen. Her mother's eyes softened with sympathy, but she shook her head gently. You are blessed, my daughter. To be the wife of a wealthy man like Alhaji Danladi is an honor. Amina's heart sank as her mother revealed the identity of her betrothed Alhaji Danladi, a man she had never met, and to make matters worse, she would be his fourth wife. Once upon a time, in the northern part of Nigeria, there lived a girl named Amina. She lived with her parents. Every morning, Amina would wake up early to help her mother with the house chores and assist her in making the delicious fura drink they sold in their community. Her brother Amin, on the other hand, was always carefree. He would spend his mornings playing ball with his friends, often returning home whenever he felt like it. Amina would watch him with envy and sometimes wishing she could also enjoy such freedom. Amina, hurry up. We need to finish making the fura drink before customers start coming, her mother would call out. Yes, Mama, I'm coming, Amina would respond dutifully, rushing to help her mother grind the millet and mix it with milk to make the refreshing drink. Meanwhile, their father would sit outside, sipping tea and chatting with the neighbors. He never seemed bothered by Amin's behavior, often saying, "It is not a man's place to do house chores. Let the boy enjoy his childhood." Amina's heart would sink every time she heard those words, but she dared not speak up. In their tradition, challenging the head of the family was considered taboo, and her mother could only watch silently, unable to intervene. Despite the unfairness of it all, Amina excelled in everything she did. She was a bright student at the community school, always at the top of her class. Her teacher, Teacher Ahmed, recognized her talent and encouraged her to pursue her dreams. Keep up the good work, Amina. You have a bright future ahead of you, Teacher Ahmed would say with a warm smile. Amina cherished those words, knowing that someone believed in her abilities. But deep down, she feared the day her father would force her to stop schooling just because she was a girl child. As the days passed, Amina's 14th birthday approached, casting a shadow over her happiness. She knew that once she reached the age, her father would pull her out of school, regardless of her achievements. On the eve of Amina's 14th birthday, Amina couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, her mind filled with worries about her future. Would she ever be able to fulfill her dreams, or would she be confined to the roles the society had assigned to her? The next morning, Amina woke up with a heavy heart. She went about her chores, her thoughts consumed by the impending doom. When she got to school that day, Teacher Ahmed appeared. "Good morning, Amina," he greeted with a smile. "I heard it's your birthday today." Amina nodded, unable to hide her sadness. "Yes, Teacher Ahmed, it is." "Well, I have a special gift for you," Teacher Ahmed said, reaching into his bag and pulling out a beautifully wrapped package. Amina's eyes widened in surprise as she took the gift from him. She carefully unwrapped it to reveal a brand new set of school supplies, notebooks, pen and even a calculator. "I know how much you love learning, Amina," Teacher Ahmed said kindly, "and I believe that you have the potential to achieve great things. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Tears welled up in Amina's eyes as she hugged Teacher Ahmed tightly. "Thank you, Teacher Ahmed. You have given me hope when I needed it the most." The next day, Amina's father called both Amina and her brother Amin, along with their mother, to sit with him. Amina's heart pounded as she knew something serious was about to happen. Her father's stern voice filled the room as he spoke. "Amina, now that you are 14, it is time for you to stop going to school." Amina's eyes widened with shock as she tried to plead with her father, but he wouldn't listen. He told her she would go to her Auntie Nana's place to learn how to be a good wife, as she was already betrothed to a man since birth. Tears welled up in Amina's eyes as her dreams of becoming a lawyer seemed to crumble before her eyes. Her father expressed his confidence in her, saying she would make a really beautiful bride. That day, instead of going to school, Amina stayed at home. Her friend Halima came to visit her, and when she asked why Amina was absent, Amina poured out her heart. "I don't want to get married, Halima," Amina said tearfully. "Teacher Ahmed believes in me. He says I have a bright future, but my father won't listen." Halima listened sympathetically, then suggested, "Maybe you should talk to Teacher Ahmed. He might be able to help you, Amina." But Amina shook her head sadly. "My father's mind is made up. There is nothing I can do about it." Despite her father's orders, Amina couldn't bear to give up on her education. She began to sneak to the school, peeping through the windows just to catch up with a glimpse of the lessons. Days passed, and Amina continued her secret visits to the school. One day, her father caught her sneaking out. He dragged her home and beat her, warning her never to disobey his orders again. Bruised and broken, Amina lay on the bed, her dreams fading like a distant stars. Weeks passed, and Amina's impending marriage loomed closer with each passing day. The gifts from her future husband's family kept pouring in, each one more extravagant than the last. Amina's father was elated, seeing it as a sign of prosperity for their family. "I don't want to get married, Mama," Amina confided in her mother one evening as they sat together in the kitchen. Her mother's eyes softened with sympathy, but she shook her head gently. "You are blessed, my daughter. To be the wife of a wealthy man like Alhaji Danladi is an honor." Amina's heart sank as her mother revealed the identity of her betrothed Alhaji Danladi, a man she had never met, and to make matters worse, she would be his fourth wife. "But Mama, I don't want to be anyone's wife, especially not a fourth wife to an old man," Amina protested, her voice trembling with emotion. Her mother's tone turned stern. "Never you speak such words again, Amina. Your father must not hear you." As the days passed, Amina's sadness deepened. She felt trapped, suffocated by the expectations placed upon her. One day, while Amina was alone in the house with Amin, her brother surprised her with an unexpected words. "I can't wait for you to be married off, Amina," Amin said with a hint of pride in his voice. Amina's eyes widened in disbelief. "But why, Amin? Don't you see how unfair this is?" "It is an honor to be the in-law of one of the weirdest men in the community," Amin replied. "His looks doesn't matter, Amina. He has wealth." Amina's heart sank at her brother's words. She couldn't believe he would support such an unjust arrangement. As time went by, Amina found herself increasingly isolated. She was forbidden from leaving the house, except for occasional visits from her trusted friend Halima. When Halima came to visit one day, Amina seized the opportunity to confide in her. She begged Halima to deliver a letter she had written to teacher Ahmed, pleading for help, that it was a secret. The next day, Halima delivered the letter to teacher Ahmed. As he read Amina's words, concern furrowed his brow. He knew now why Amina had stopped attending school, and his heart ached for her. Teacher Ahmed was torn. He knew Amina was a bright and intelligent girl, and he couldn't bear to see her forced into marriage at such a young age. But he also knew the challenges of intervening in such matters, especially in a community where traditions ran deep. A few days later, Halima arrived at Amina's house, clutching a letter from teacher Ahmad. She handed it to Amina with a solemn expression, knowing the importance of its contents. Amina waited until she was alone in her room before she opened the letter, her heart pounding with anticipation. As she read teacher Ahmed's words of encouragement and support, a glimmer of hope ignited within Amina's chest. For the first time in a long while, a smile graced her lips. She clutched the letter to her chest. finding solace in the belief that someone out there was fighting for her. However, that night, tragedy struck. Masked men stormed Amina's house, their presence striking fear into the hearts of her family. Amina's father, mother and brother Amin trembled as the armed men forcefully abducted Amina, leaving chaos and confusion in their wake. The following morning, the news of Amina's abduction spread like wildfire through the community. Even Alhaji Danladi, upon hearing of the incident, was shaken. He dispatched his men to search for Amina, determined to bring her back at any cost. Despite hours of searching and searching, Amina remained elusive. Alhaji Danladi's frustration grew, and he turned his suspicions towards Amina's family, convinced that they were somehow involved in their daughter's disappearance. He ordered them to be taken as slaves until Amina was found. Amina's father, mother and brother protested their innocence vehemently, swearing on their lives that they had no knowledge of Amina's abduction. But Alhaji Danladi remained unmoved, his anger clouding his judgments. As days turned into weeks, the search for Amina continued fruitlessly. The villagers whispered rumors and speculations, but Amina's whereabouts remained a mystery. Meanwhile, Amina's family languished in captivity, their hope diminishing with each passing day. After being abducted from her home, Amina found herself in a bustling city, accompanied by a man named Karim and his wife Zainab. It was revealed to her that teacher Ahmed had orchestrated the plan, informing Amina of it in the letter she received through Halima. Amina was overwhelmed with gratitude towards teacher Ahmed and his relatives who had come to their aid. Karim and Zainab took Amina under their wings, providing her with shelter, care, and the opportunity to continue her education. They enrolled Amina in school, where she excelled in her studies, determined to make the most of the opportunity given to her. Despite the kindness shown to her by Karim and his wife Zainab, Amina couldn't help but feel a pang of homesickness from time to time. She missed her mother, her friend Halima, and even teacher Ahmed. But she knew that staying in the city was the best chance she had at a brighter future. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Amina immersed herself in her studies, driven by the promise she made to herself and to Karim and Zainab. She treated their son like a younger brother, and together they navigated the challenges of school and life in the city. However, unknown to Amina, her family back in the village continued to suffer at the hands of Alhaji Danladi. Teacher Ahmed had chosen to shield Amina from the harsh reality, fearing it would distract her from her studies and cause her undue worry. In the village, Amina's family grew thinner and weaker as they struggled to meet Alhaji Danladi's demands. The villagers looked with pity, knowing little of the true extent of the family's suffering. Meanwhile, Amina thrived in her new environment, her determination and resilience shining through in every aspect of her life. She dedicated herself to her studies, earning top marks in her classes and earning admiration of her teachers and peers alike. But deep down, Amina never forgot where she came from. She held onto memories of her home, her family, and the village she once knew, determined to one day return and make things right. And though the road ahead was uncertain, Amina remained steadfast in her resolve, knowing that with courage and determination, anything was possible. Many years flew by, and Amina's dreams of becoming a lawyer finally came true. Teacher Ahmed, Karim, and Zainab beamed with pride at her achievement. They had been like family to her, guiding her and supporting her every step of the way. As Amina flourished in her career, Teacher Ahmed felt it was time for her to return to the village. Her father, now aged and ailing from the harsh treatment under Alhaji Danladi's captivity, they needed her by his side. Amina's family had only been freed from their ordeal upon Alhaji Danladi's death. Teacher Ahmed gently broke the news to Amina about her father's condition. Grateful for all that Karim and Zainab had done for her, Amina shared her desire to return to her family, and they agreed without hesitation. On the day of her return, the village buzzed with shock and disbelief. Many had thought Amina was lost forever, and their initial joy at seeing her turned to anger and resentment. They blamed her for the hardships her family endured during her alleged abduction. But Teacher Ahmed stepped forward, shouldering the blame and urging the villagers to focus on the positivities. He spoke of Amina's achievements and the brighter future she now offered to her family and community. Tears flowed freely as Amina reunited with her family. Her father, though initially hesitant, eventually embraced her, his heart softened by her presence. Amina wasted no time in arranging for her father to receive proper medical attention in the city, apologizing for the pain she unknowingly caused him. Among the familiar faces of the village, Amina found her friend Halima, now a wife and mother of 3. Their reunion was filled with laughter and tears as they reminisced about their childhood dreams and shared their hopes for the future. Amina's mother enveloped her in her warm embrace, whispering words of gratitude and love. Despite the hardships they endure, she was overjoyed to see her daughter safe and thriving. Together, Amina and her family journeyed to the village where they reconciled and put the past behind them. Amina vowed to never forget the kindness of Karim, Zainab and teacher Ahmed, who had been the pillars of strength throughout her journey. As her father's health improved, Amina dedicated herself to a new cause, advocating for an end to child marriage. She used her platform as a lawyer to raise awareness and fight for the rights of young girls everywhere. In the midst of her activism, Amina found love with her heartthrob, whom she had met during her schooling days. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and together they embarked on a new chapter of their lives, filled with love, hope, and the promise of a brighter future. Amina's story teaches us that we must never give up on our dreams. We need to be kind to others and value our family. Let us stand up for what is right, appreciate the power of education, and stay hopeful even in tough times. Thanks for watching this captivating story on African stories and folktales. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories. Thank you.